Each of us on the research side has a different role, but all of those pieces, they play together into a final answer that is ultimately aimed at the improved performance of varieties, the success of the growers.
Research funding is what drives improvements in our practices. It maybe seems expensive, but when you look at the potential return and the potential benefit across hundreds of thousands of acres, pretty quickly that looks like a pretty sound return on investment.
We always focus our work on things that impact the producers, improve the variety development, the crop performance for producers. Here, what I was asked to do was to develop and establish a new breeding program for peas, lentils, and chickpeas. As with any program that's new, that process we worked through with the university, support of the administration and the department, have developed a program for all three crops that has what we refer to as the breeding pipeline full, beginning with making crosses, all the way through to now evaluating MSU-derived and developed breeding lines across the state at different locations to identify individual breeding lines that are either locally adapted to specific areas or broadly adapted across the state. One of the very interesting pieces of the breeding project that we have here developed is the winter pea. They have that potential to allow for a legume crop to be maintained within the crop rotations, and it allows them to have the crop established in the fall and avoid any spring planting issues and still have the benefit of a legume in the rotation at that point that they desire. We haven't fully analyzed the data from Havre and the other locations, but the yields at Havre, which is what we think of as a very harsh, very challenging environment for winter peas, produced some of the highest yields that we've had. With chickpeas, this is an area where we need to have improved varieties that are adapted to Montana. There are lines that have been made available through exchanges that are performing very well. And in fact, we have one variety that is released. Seed will be available to producers for the 2025 season, and very excited to see how well that performs across the state in producers' hands. There is the food science side, where they're looking at the functionality. These products are used to make puffs. It's really quite interesting.
We're really focused on using extrusion processing to increase demand for Montana pulses. We do that by testing and developing, trialing new products through extrusion. So extrusion is a thermomechanical process. We start with conveying our feedstock, which is typically just dry flour. It can be a fractionated. So with lentils, a lot of times we'll use a starch fraction or a protein fraction. We'll convey that into the extruder, and what the extruder does is it thermomechanically processes the material. So the mechanical part of that is it conveys it, so it moves it from the beginning to the end where the dye is. And it also mixes it, so we add moisture and that mixes it together, and then it shears it. So the screws in their spinning action create friction and break down the product. That creates some physical changes within the product, and then that friction also creates thermal energy. And so when those barrels get hot, it cooks the material. And so today we tested some direct expanded snack puffs. When it comes out the dye, the remaining moisture flashes off, and it creates a crunchy snack product. I see the future to be directly involved with our stakeholders. So whether that means directly working with the producers or food manufacturers to develop products, because that is our end goal, is to increase demand for creating products for consumers to purchase. That's strengthened by our background in research.
As Montana State University, we are very dedicated to the land grant mission. So it's very important us to be responsive to commodity groups, to commodity checkoffs, and to these producer feelings. So what we had an opportunity today is a quick 10-minute smattering, 30,000-foot view of what's happening at Montana State of certain selected things. And this goes from full agronomic cropping systems type of work that integrate peas, lentils into other cropping systems, all the way down to end use products like using peas, lentils in alternative type foods like granola bars, or developing other products from the end product and fractionation of those, and how do we use those nutraceuticals.
So when we want to do applied pulse research that has a benefit to a region, we're certainly not just working in Bozeman, right? We're collaborating with our outstate agricultural research centers. We have a network of 7 research centers around Montana, and we'll collaborate with other states. For example, we just finished a fertilizer input study with lentils, and as part of that we looked at sulfur additions to lentils in particular. And sulfur has just been one of those nutrients that's just been kind of overlooked. We know a lot about phosphorus, but we just don't know as much about sulfur. 20% of our cases, a very inexpensive rate of sulfur generated a pretty healthy return in terms of lentil yield, about a 10-to-1 return on investment. So that's the kind of applied research return you can get with timely pulse research.
The checkoff that is currently collected from the production of these crops in the state, what's used for research, it's actually crucial to our programs for their success.
Montana researchers use that money to help the farmers make sure they're passing their operations off in a profitable and economically viable way. So by us garnering and getting some of those research dollars, we're able to use those dollars to generate either preliminary data or very high risk data that has proof of concept. Dr. Perry Miller talked about Build a Better Lentil, and it was built off producer checkoff dollars where we started finding various things about rolling and about different types of protein content. That's how we had the producer dollars, and it was leveraging for a $4 million grant to help continue to help those producers. So it helps us a great deal in locally adapted, unbiased research for the producers of Montana.